Today we are looking into the 5 brand new features I think have to be on FM24 to make it a successful game cycle before the big one, FM25, before it all kicks off. And I've also got some suggestions from viewers as well. So today's video is going to be very exciting. We're going to look through some features which I think would absolutely change the game, especially as a content creator making tactics, making rebuilds. They would be so helpful and make the content even better. So stick around right to the end as well to see what the viewers think and what suggestions they have, because some of them are absolutely fantastic. What's going on there, guys? Kempi here. Welcome back to the channel. A bit of a chill video today. This one is more of an FM24 features and the ones that I want to see for the upcoming game cycle. I'm very excited to show these to you, and I'm not going to waffle too much because I think these sorts of videos are very fun. You guys absolutely love them. Make sure you're smashing the like button down below. My number one suggestion, I think this is one that everyone is crying out for, to make some bit of a difference to the tactics. Everyone seems to be running the 4-3-3, the 4-2-3-1. And what about if we had in possession and out of possession tactics? Now I'm going to create a bog standard here 4-3-3 DM on a clean slate. And obviously on FM at the moment you do get these side bits of in position, in transition and out of position, but the base formation is always a 4-3-3. Now in real life you're seeing at the moment much more sort of interchanging formations in game. For example, Pep Guardiola often starts in a 4-3-3 with Rodri, De Bruyne and another centre mid, whether it's Kovacic or whatever, and that eventually ends up into a 3-2-4-1 with John Stones will move into CDM with Rodri, and De Bruyne and Kovacic will move into the cam role with Grealish and Foden out wide, of Bernardo Silva and Haaland up front, and they progress into a 3-2-4-1 rather than sticking to the basic 4-3-3. And obviously certain positions in game you can sort of imitate this with. I mean, for example, with the right back with John Stones, you can make an inverted wing back on support, but I think it then, I don't like it. It's still not what it's meant to be. It's sort of a put in a square peg in a round hole, for example. It's, you know, it's not the whole point of having these two formations. Would be so much better for tactic creation. You could do a much more sort of in-depth thing within possession as well. You could be, you know, pulling out certain players. For example, the right back, obviously going into DM, that DM could then still sort of sit slightly to the right so he can cover off, and when it's out of possession and from back, he can easily drop in to that right back role rather than, you know, then try and defend in that DM role. He does move back into that right back role. You then create the back four again. The two cams come back to centre mid, and you've got the 4-3-3. And that would be so much better for me as a content creator for, you know, tactic creation. We could be so much more exciting with our tactics. We could make a 3-2-4-1 to start as out of possession, and then in possession we're going to go to a 3-1-4-2, and we're going to go absolutely wild. And just the things we could do, you know, moving certain players up and interchanging players around. It would be so much better to have in possession, out of possession tactics. I mean, example, again, you see managers of real life that start on a fullback very quickly go to, obviously not this sort of formation, but 2 at the back, and then a sort of a DM will come in and it will look a bit like this. So the wing backs will go so high on, and then you've got this ridiculously attacking midfield up front. Again, it would make so much more fun in tactic creation. I think you guys as well, in-game management would be so much better if we had in possession and out of possession tactics, and that's my number one thing for FM24 that I want to see. And a very, very close number 2 as well. And again, I think this is one that a lot of people want to see. I've seen it for 3, 4, 5 years now, is set piece creation. Again, it's a bit of a basic one. It's what everyone wants to see, so I'm not going to waffle on too much about it. But for example, attacking set pieces, these should be so much more fluid than these little positions here. We should be able to do sort of, you know, direct to do a short pass into the lurk outside the area. Should be just a player that's roaming. Short pass into the outside the area. This sit back player can run forward and make a creation on the edge of the box, and you can get into the box deep on and head the ball into the back of the net. We should be able to make little things like that. Obviously that doesn't really work. That's, I mean, it might, a back post untracked run from someone running from deep, making it to the back post could work. It could be quite good, to be fair. But that sort of thing where you could pass it short, then go out wide, then make another little movement in and there and whip it in, and you score it, and it would be so much more fun for set piece creation. Again, I mean, I know myself, I use the exact same routines every single time, and it is front post and it is far post, and it is boring. I score, well, I can score. I mean, I'm in rebuilds before. I scored 34 goals with Rafa Varane in the Premier League season alone from these tactics. They are way too overpowered, they are way too basic, and they are way too rigid. And I think just that little bit of creation could change that, because people will be, you know, having fun making their own set pieces, not just plugging and playing. then a big man at the back post, a big man at the front post, and it would make so much more sort of creative flow in making a set piece as well. And that is my second suggestion, and very close to number 1 as well. My third suggestion is one that I'm not sure too many people will agree on. It's a bit of a different one, but something that I've wanted to see in FM for lots and lots of years. I mean, I've played FM since sort of FM 2008. I might not look it, but you know, I've played FM for a hell of a long time, and I loved it since I was a kid, which is quite weird for a kid to like management games. But I've always loved FM, and one thing I've always wanted to do is manage an under 21s or an under 18 side. Now, I think as a realistic management position, a lot of managers now come through the ranks, play a full sort of professional career, and then will go into the under 18s management, work their way up into the 21s, and then I think it might have been Scott Parker, it might not have been, but there was a manager recently who then got a chance. I mean, look at Bruno Salsa at Chelsea, for example. He's just a coach. He probably has managed under 21s and under 18s before, and then goes on and gets an opportunity to manage the first team in a temporary role because the manager got sacked. If you impress, you know, you want to keep that role, but it improves your reputation slightly. And I think it would be really fun to develop wonder kids, and you know, you'd have stories that you could create. So if you were the under 18s manager and you had Johnny Stuttle here for some reason, got called up to the under 21s, he absolutely smashed it and got called up to the first team, and you know, he is in the first team, training the first team, playing for the under 21 still, and then eventually injury crisis, Johnny Stuttle was starting for the first team at Bournemouth, and you know, it's your own wonder kid that you have helped progress and you have helped get into the first team. And it's a bit of a little cool background storyline, and I think this for sort of international management as well would improve it massively. Now obviously international management is a whole different ball game, one that I'm not going to talk about too much today because it infuriates me on a whole different level just how bad it is. I mean, it really should be so much better. But again, you look for the under 21s managers. There have been some fantastic managers that come for the under 21s in England, and we don't have the chance as FM players to manage in the youth teams. I mean, again, if we look at the under 21s team, James Trafford, Lewis Hall, Liam Gibbs, Cole Palmer, James McAtee, you get to work with some fantastic young players, and again, you could have a say in how their career goes. You know, winning the under 21s European Championships is massive for England, and if you could do that as a manager, it massively increases your stock as a manager and your reputation. So again, that is something that I think should definitely be in the game. Now, I've made this exact video on how to play as a director of football on FM23, but it shouldn't be so hard that you have to watch a video that I make on how to set up responsibilities and certain roles as a club. You should be able to just be able to do it. I mean, there's no reason you couldn't have a director of football mode on FM. It's a very, I mean, we can basically set it up ourselves, of course, but it would be so much more fun if it was completely legit. You could control transfers, you could delegate transfers to the manager, you could obviously just keep an eye on how managers are doing, etc. And like I said, for rebuilds, etc., that would be fantastic if I could actually keep, if I was doing a Chelsea rebuild and I was doing it based around Pochettino, I could actually keep Pochettino in charge. I could decide after year 2, if he's not won a trophy, I can sack him. And in that rebuild itself, it would be so much more fun because I could make a realistic manager appointment. I could bring Mourinho back to Chelsea in a legit manner, and he can use his tactics, and it'll be so much more fun to do videos on that, as well as for people to actually play with it as well. The director of football mode is something that is massively underrated and will be so much fun. I mean, I've played a game on mobile before where you basically start as like a director of football in some rubbish low down side, and you work your way up. I can't think what it's called. If you know what it's called, get it down in the comments below. It is a fantastic mobile game, and you basically work your way up to being the best director of football ever. I know you could do that on FM. You could start as a director of football in League 2, in the Conference League. You'd have a little bit of money behind you, and you know, you get that job and you get to work through, and you say if you absolutely smash it, director of football there, you could get poached by a championship side and so on and so forth until you work your way to the top, or you could simply start at the top as your own Todd Bowley, director of football, and have all the fun in the world. And director of football mode, like I said, you can set it up yourself with staff responsibilities, but this should not be what you have to do to get something as simple as director of football mode in the game. And then that's point number 4, but point number 4.5, it's not an official point, but something for me that I was always wanting to do, and something that I'm going to be very interested to see if you guys want this on the channel. So let me know down in the description below if you do want to see a sort of player career mode. Now, I've got massively back into FIFA over the last 2 or 3 months, and I've really enjoyed playing FIFA player career mode. I've always enjoyed player career mode from the days of watching A9 Skills. If anyone watched that, massive throwback. Used to, you know, go onto GTA and NBA and do little cutscenes here and there, and I used to love watching them videos. And player career mode is something that I think could be in FM24. Now, it might not be anywhere near as fun as it is on FIFA, and that's why it's sort of 0.4, 0.5, because I'd love to do some player career mode content, and obviously with the new FIFA coming out in just a month now, if you guys do want to see that, I will happily bring that to you. It will just be player career mode content. It won't be any Ultimate Team or any other career mode, because for career mode, it is so much better on FM. But that player career mode aspect and building a story around a player, I would love to bring that to the channel. And if you guys want to do that, let me know in the comments below. Would you like to see player career mode EAFC 24 on the channel? And if FM had that feature, I would certainly be making content on it, because that sort of player aspect of building a story is so fun, and I think you guys would agree as well. So let me know down below if you want to see that as well, because that's something I can certainly bring to the channel and something I'd quite like to bring as well. So yeah, 4.5 player career mode. And my final point as well is one on training. Now, training is something that I am not interested in the slightest. I've never made my own training videos. I've never used my own training. I simply, whenever I make a save, whether it's a rebuild, a tactic video, a actual save I do myself, I go into the training and I delegate it, because it is so mind-numbingly boring. I couldn't care less, to be honest. So I want to see training massively improved. Now, training for me, I've been a Sunday League manager, and I used to love making my own training drills, doing research into different training drills, etc. And don't get me wrong, you can do different calendar schedules, etc. But I'm not saying I want to make my own training drills, but what I've got written down is it's just too complicated at the moment, and it's not very interesting. So if we could do sort of like an actual, I mean, imagine being able to watch training. So say you're going into pre-season, you've got a massive game against Knack Breda, the first game of pre-season. It's not a massive game, it's a little bit of fun, and you want to see who to play in that game. You know, the week before, you could have a little, literally 30-second clip from each training session of Emiliano Marcondes at Bournemouth. I don't think he'll here anymore, he's just come to my head. He is just, you know, taking it one-on-one, beat the goalkeeper and put it in the back of the net, and for this game he has got +1 finishing or something like that. Because again, I've been playing a lot of Madden recently, and before you do a game on Madden, you do little training drills and you improve in certain areas and certain players for that game. And imagine you could do that on FM. You know, it couldn't be too overpowered, but you know, +1 composure, you know, going one-on-one for Marcondes for this pre-season game, or +1 fitness because for the whole team, because the training drill we absolutely smashed the bleep test. I don't know what it will be, but something like that would be so much more fun, and it'll be much more fun as well just to have that little bit more of connection to training. Obviously, I know every week you get that report of you've got 3 players that are doing really well, you've got 3 players that are doing wrong, and I know you can go in depth and see the whole breakdown of the squad and who's doing well and who's not doing well, but I think that's boring. That's not fun. Training should not be that. It should not be just a number on the screen. That is this. It should be Marcondes is doing very, very well attackingly. He's actually at 8.5 going forward, but you know, in his defensive work, he's only a 4.6, which brings him down to a 6.5. So it looks like he's had a rubbish training session, but actually going forward and being an aggressive player on the front foot, he's been fantastic. So playing a left wing on an attacking position, he'd be great. Something like that would be so, you know, it would be basic to put in. It would be quite an in-depth sort of thing to put in, but I think would make a massive difference to, you know, actual saves. This is not rebuilds, this is not videos. This is just an actual enjoyment in a save. Being able to watch training and do bits like that would be so much more fun. And that's point number 5, making training more fun, making it more enjoyable, and making it so we can actually watch little snippets of training sessions, see who's doing well, see who's doing wrong, and maybe slight attribute increases for a particular game would be absolutely massive. And the final point of this video is your guys' suggestions. Now, I asked you guys on Twitter, on Discord, and on YouTube for some suggestions, and you guys have absolutely smashed it. And this one I absolutely love, from Russ, SX Bruss 73. I would like it that when you buy a youth player, you could lock in the position he plays in reserves teams. I had a rebuild the other day with Dave Ryan. He played right wing and striker. He looked absolutely fantastic. He's got potential to be one of the best players in the world. So if you haven't seen that Wolves rebuild, that is just going to be up there somewhere. And he's fantastic. And he is a right winger or a striker, but he's only got 8 finishing. So I'd like to lock him in as a right winger. But actually, when I looked into the games, he was playing as a striker. So Russ, the idea there, locking him into a specific position would be absolutely fantastic. And again, sometimes you want to retrain these youth players as well. He might be a centre mid, has got really good defensive attributes, however, and he's also quite quick. Maybe he could be a left back, got some good, you know, on the ball work, needs to improve his crossing a little bit. You could lock him into left back, see how he performs, and that would be great fun. And another absolutely banging suggestion here from Gabriel: ability to build youth camps all around the world so he can recruit youth players from abroad. My God, that would be unbelievable. Now, obviously in FIFA, you have that sort of youth recruitment schedule where you can send your staff for 9 months over to Brazil. He can go and see what talent he can get. Imagine you could do that on FM, and it's in FIFA, and FM is so much more in depth. Gabriel, that is an absolutely top idea, and I would love to see that one. So a massive shout out to you. if anyone that has anything to do with FM ever watches this video, get this in, because that is a top suggestion and would probably fly to like #1 on my list. That is better than in possession and out of possession tactics. That would be unbelievable. Kirk Sheridan has gone with the, I said this a lot, but Director of Football mode, I think is what a lot of people want to see, and Kirk, I 100% agree. Director of Football mode should certainly be in FM. And Abdullah as well come with 2 formations, one for attack, one for defence. It's gone the exact same as sort of I said with the in attack, it's a 3-2-4-1, but in defence, you drop into a 4-2-3-1 and make it much more difficult for a team to break down. Exactly the same suggestion as I had, Abdullah. Fantastic suggestion on that one. Van Drill, I think, is getting at the fact that a lot of players moan at certain things, and it makes it, you know, the season gets a little bit longer because there's a lot more little, you know, pretty random and not exciting interactions where you now spend sort of 35 to 40 in-game hours rather than 10 to 20. I think, you know, it's a good suggestion. I think, I mean, I myself, when I play a save, I take as long as possible in transfer windows, and the rest of it bores me a little bit. So, yeah, I agree. There's a lot of nonsense in the game. Yeah. I think that's what he's getting at there. I'm trying to read that back. I think that's what he's getting at. This is coming in with FFP. Now, FFP is in the game, but it means absolutely nothing. I have never breached FFP regulations. I'm pretty sure when you get close to it, the game actually just sort of bails you out and you get a massive sponsorship and you're okay. I agree. It should 100% be in the game. It is a massive thing in football at the moment. I mean, we're looking at United, obviously the team I support. We can't buy certain players because the FFP, we're too close to it. Obviously, then you've got the amortization that Chelsea do, signing Caicedo on a 9-year deal, so that the 150 million is actually spread over 9 years. That should be something we should be able to do in the game as well, and there should be a lot more in depth with FFP. So Lucas, I certainly agree, for realism, that should certainly be in the game. And Ali coming in with a classic one. Less games where you get FM'd would be a fantastic start. You're certainly right. FM loves to FM, and it will always FM, and Ali, I'm afraid there's nothing we can do about it. On YouTube as well, we've got Kai, save responsibilities, so you have to change them on every save or new job. And again, as a content creator, that would be fantastic, because every rebuilding tactic I go into, I have to make the same responsibilities time and time again. It takes 5 to 10 minutes to change everything to the way I need it to be. If there was just literally a basic features that when I load into a save, that, you know, the Kempi XI manager that I use, his responsibilities are the exact same for every job, that would be fantastic, and it would save so much time. A banging idea there from Kai. And Nwandi again has gone in with in and out possession tactics. 100% agree. And the last page we're going to check is our Discord. If you're not in the Discord, guys, that is in the link below. We've got about 375 people in and out, so you guys, absolute legends. A massive thank you for all your support. Ollie Gaming with more playable leagues, asked for in particular, and more African teams leagues, because he wants to do it African to glory. Now, I believe there's only the South African League on FM. Now, there's obviously, we see a lot of talent coming from Nigeria, from Ghana, and places like that in sort of northwest Africa. There's none of them leagues on FM whatsoever, so I completely agree with that. And while I'm on that topic, I am doing the biggest challenge ever on FM. I'm looking to break records out here. We're going to be completing FM 24 for the last game on the game cycle. No calendaring, no jibber jabber. It's going to be, I'm going to basically start in the lowest possible league, the lowest possible first division, and win every single first division on the game as one manager. You've heard of the Pentagon Challenge, you've heard of all these, you've heard the Mourinho Challenge, the Glory Hunter. It's inspired by a Glory Hunter. I'm going to win every single top division trophy on the game in one save as one manager. How does that sound? That sounds ridiculous, I'm fully aware. But that is my point for FM24, and that is what I want to do. It's the last of a massive game cycle. It's the last of a 20-year period. And that is the plan. It's going to be quite some plan as well. So again, if you guys do want to see that, subscribe to the channel, because that is going to come twice a week on the channel. We're going to be completing a country every single episode. So whether it takes me a season, 2 seasons, 3 seasons, that is what it's going to be. We'll leave the club at the end of completing it, and we'll look for the next job. Legit, it's going to be no editing, like no in-game editor. It is going to be completely legit. And at the end of it, I want to sit here and say, FM24 completed it, mate. Now, obviously, the next thing is being able to give a proper background to your manager. That is from Kirky as well, mod on the Twitch channel, absolute legend, Kirky. There's going to be something coming out on the Twitch for the drop of FM24. I will do a proper announcement for it, but I want to do a proper charity stream. It'll be 24 hours, so Kirky, you're going to be busy for that one. Being able to keep a proper background to your manager for your playing career, like position, clubs played for, etc. And again, a background to your manager. So obviously you can put in favourite team as Man United, but you can't say, obviously you put put in that you're a professional, ex-professional player. Favourite team, Man United, you're basically Gary Neville. You played 500 games at right back, you're a club legend, and you're starting down at Valencia, like Gary Neville, and your goal eventually is to get to United, and United are more likely to approach you because you're a club legend. That would be fantastic. And Ollie Gaiman again has come in with maybe to have a soundtrack on FM. I personally listen to Spotify whenever I play FM, but like FIFA has, there's a soundtrack, and why not get that in FM as well? A massive thank you for all your guys' suggestions as well. And if you've got any more suggestions, get them in the comment below, because if this video does very well and there's lots of comments down below on, you know, different suggestions you want to see, I'll make another video on it. So get down comments down below, like the video, watch this rebuild over here as well, because it's an absolute banger and I'm sure you'll absolutely love it.